Okay. Is this good news for the Bears?
I think it's great. Listen, this side of the table has always believed coaching really matters. And so last year, it's just we have. So last year, even though, the Bears appeared to be a total mess, I think it was fair. A lot of it was fairly attributed to bad coaching.
Wait, did you know the coaches were there before you?
I misevaluated the coaches. Is the obvious.
They were 4-2.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, they were 4-2, but they
with
didn't.
those same coaches. I'm just saying.
They were 4-2 with those same coaches, and then they went 1-10 the rest of the way with the same and then different coaches as it went. Every story I hear out of Bears camp and out of Jets camp makes me more optimistic about their seasons and kind of more frustrated if I were a fan of those teams about the previous regimes. Because it's all very similar, which is like, man, sure are holding us accountable this year.
Yeah.
And it kind of does speak to the old coaching cliche, which is players want to be coached. Players want the structure, want the discipline, want to be held accountable. And I think they're getting that in Chicago. What, Coach? What do you?
No, I think they do until they get frustrated with being held accountable, and then they want, oh, that's a coach that I can relate to. He's
okay, well, that's fine, but we're not to that part of the process yet in Chicago.
It's just whatever the cycle, and that was DJ Moore talking about how the culture's changing, right? Can we just talk about what they said about DJ Moore? Can we bring up this what might be a correlation here? Oh, Ben Johnson talks about what a great player is.
Well, maybe he is.
We're going to explore. I like DJ Moore. We're going to explore how to get him the ball more and get him in space. And suddenly the culture's changed.
No. But don't you think it's
going to get me the ball more?
Meanwhile, Luther Burden getting tossed out of drills.
But they talked about that. Like that Luther Burden, the rookie, got tossed out of practice because,
tossed out of drill, not
the
practice.
Rookie got tossed out of practice. Didn't Betts get tossed out of practice?
Well, I think, I don't know. Hold on. This is unfair.
Hey, let's go after the young guy that can't do anything.
That's ridiculous. That's flatly ridiculous.
Is it?
Yes, to act
Make
like...
an example of the rookie and not of... Which veteran did he throw out of practice?
I don't know the full list of guys who have been told to go to the sideline for the drills.
Yeah.
But the point that DJ Moore made in this interview was, if it says line up 2 steps to the right of the hash and you line up 1 step to the left of the hash, you're out for the drill.
Yeah.
And
they kicked Caleb out of a drill.
Yeah, so I think that the Ben Johnson coming in and making it clear precision and attention to detail is important is objectively good.
Okay. I'm actually really excited to talk about this because we kind of talked about this a little bit before with the whole Caleb being thrown out and whatnot, and what all of this means, and the different styles of coaching and culture, and what even that means, honestly. And these are things that I think about a lot, honestly. And I've been lucky because I've been exposed to very different coaches, not only different quality of coaches, but then different personalities, different cultures, just different types and styles. They come in all different shapes and sizes, honestly. And I get what Mangini is saying. In a lot of ways, they're both right. And we also just don't have all of the information. But really what Mangini is saying is kind of like, it can be a little silly to be thrown out like rookies out of practice and all of that, and out of a drill. And it also all depends on why you're doing it. What Nick kind of explained at one part of the interview makes sense. It's attention to detail. But then what DJ Moore also said in part of the interview, he kind of talked about kind of essentially like if you make a certain type of mistake that you'll pretty much be thrown out of the drill, and you might not be part of it for the part of that play for the rest of the day. And there is a happy medium. You can go too far. Okay, I want to use like the dumbest example possible in the simplest way possible. Right? It's like if you're a wide receiver and you drop a pass. Okay, you're running a drill, right? Where it's just, I want you to put your head down, you're going to hike. This is the drill. You're going to take 2 steps forward, and then you're going to turn to the left, you're going to look up, and then you're going to catch the ball. That's the drill we're doing, right? 2 steps, look to the left, catch. That's all it, right? And you have some coaches where you do that, and then you do everything right, and you put your hands up, and you catch the ball, but then it hits off the fingertips, and you have a coach that will get mad and furious and be like, this is simple, this is basic, get out of here, right? That's too extreme. That's too much. And there are absolutely coaches that exist like this. And it's just like, that's too much. Then it does make you feel like no matter what you do is kind of like wrong. And there's no room for you to make a mistake. And it becomes this pressure cooker. And it can be brutally hard to play for. And that's what kind of Mangini was talking about, kind of tongue in cheek of like, you want to be able to play for someone that's relatable. Like it kind of needs to be that balance. Then you have another coach where you make a mistake and, this won't be the perfect example, but, you take 3 steps instead of 2 steps. And so now you're not paying attention. Now you're not doing the drill right. You're half paying attention. I see you when I'm talking. You're looking the other way. You're kind of lollygagging. You're talking to so and so. Like, get out, focus. When I tell you to run 2 steps, you do it. Like, there's a difference between making like a mistake, like an error, or as well as just like not paying attention, not doing what I'm telling you to do. Like there's a fundamental difference. And so paying attention to detail and doing everything right, to me, is more important to hold people to that standard than whether or not like the actual outcome itself is what you want it to be. That means so much more to me. And it does feel to me, based on what I hear, is that Ben Johnson's kind of flirting with both. Right, that it's a delicate balance, and he might be missing it a little bit, which is fine. This is part of the growing pains of a first-year head coach, right? And I do understand what Mangini's saying, again, to kind of go back to kind of throwing a rookie out. It's like, yeah, you can be throwing out veterans too, and you want to throw out both, but like when you do have a young kid coming in there, rookie, like I understand, like, right, if he's talking and chatting and dancing and not paying attention and just, not attention to detail, it's like you do, then that's one thing. But if he's just kind of messing up, he's a little overwhelmed, whatever it may be, it's like the solution to that is to not necessarily just stack more onto him or make him feel like there's no margin of error. Because what you don't want are these guys going through these drills so tight and feels like, oh my gosh, if I make a mistake, if I mess up, if I don't do something right, I'm not even gonna be able to like get in front of the coaches anymore. They're not gonna see me. I'm not gonna get on the field. Like it really can spiral. It can become too much, and it's a real thing. And I really think, since a lot of people just haven't played at a high level, which is understandable, I really do think the closest, outside of people who have at least played for like actual full-time coaches, whether it be high school, college, or whatever. I really think, honestly, the more I interact with kids, like actual, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, right? Like that it's so much closer to that. When you have real, like the best way how I can relate it to people who just haven't had the experience themselves is it's like, it's like these obviously are men. They're obviously, older and more mature, but like when you're dealing with these personalities, when you're dealing with coaching and trying to get the best out of these players, like it's similar as if you're interacting with a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old. Like they need to be built up, their confidence. If you yell at a 12-year-old, like a 12-year-old's going to feel it, and it could then make them more nervous and even cry and whatnot. Like I'm not saying that you're going to yell at a player here and that, and a rookie's going to start to cry now and be like, coach is yelling at me, but like it's just on a spectrum. It's just closer to that mentally than not. And I think it's easy for people who have never had that experience of what it's like to be, to go to a practice, to go to a new team, to have a whole coaching staff. I mean, like that's what you have a whole coaching staff. And a lot of times you have coaches, like it really is kind of good coach, bad coach, right? Good cop, bad cop, where you have your main coach, and that's obviously the main guy. And then you have your position coaches and all this other type of stuff. And it's just like, there's different relationships with both of them, right? Like, and sometimes like you have one coach who's just really intense and you can't wait to break up and get away from him. You're like, I got to get to my coach, my position coach. Like that's who I got to go there. I got to be with him. And sometimes the main coach is the main coach. Like that is your guy. Sometimes the position coaches, you're just like, yeah, this guy doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. Or like, oh God, how did this guy get this job? I'm wasting my time with this. Like I said, it's all different experiences right now. And Ben Johnson is kind of finding his own way right now, and it is a process. And so changing the culture and having people be held accountable, like all of that stuff really does matter. I mean, tremendously. But instilling belief in them and confidence in them also really matters. And I think to really echo what I'm saying right now is Zach Bond for the Philadelphia Eagles was talking to another player, I forget who it was, and he was on the bench. He was like talking on the, talking. I think it was either on the field or then on the bench or just on the bench. And Nick Sirianni like declined some sort of penalty. And he said to, Zach Bond said to the player, he goes, you know why he did that? He's like, because coach like believes us that we'll be able to like, get the job done. And then after it was all said and done, like Sirianni walks up to them and he goes, you know why I did that? It's like, because I trust you guys. I believe in you guys. And Zach Bond's like, see, I told you. And I'm telling you, man, you could see that exact same experience with a bunch of 10-year-olds, 10, 11, 12-year-olds. It's the same joy, the same excitement. Like, see, coach trusts us. Coach believes in us. Like I'm telling you, like that. I see so many parallels. Even though Zach Bond's probably like what, like 28 years old, 30 years, I don't know. Again, he's a man. Like, so it just is what it is. And so it's such a balance. It's such a balance. And right now, we're hearing all of the more extreme end of the spectrum, the more toughness, the hardness, throwing people out of practice, getting frustrated, like all this, like, but we're not necessarily hearing or seeing any of the other stuff. It's not to say that it doesn't exist, but it's just like we're not seeing it or having the reports of it and what the conversations are right now. And so like it's hard to fully understand what the picture is. But when you are a mess of a franchise, which the Chicago Bears have been, I will have the more intensity than not. But plenty of coaches get fired for being too intense and too extreme. And it's not because you're soft. It's not because you're weak. It's not because of any of that. It's just because it can be brutal and unbearable to play for that. You play that way game after game after game, practice after practice after practice. Like you start to have a feeling where it's like you can't even talk on the bus ride, you can't even talk on the plane, you can't talk in the locker room. Every time the coach walks in, everyone is just like, everyone's like back gets straight and you like clench your whole body. Like it becomes unbearable. I mean, seriously, it's just tough. It's just really, really tough. And that's why to me, like Andy Reid is such a GOAT in that regard, because he demands attention to detail, and I don't want to say perfection, but like he demands effort. He has the practices go real hard and all of that, but like he doesn't give anyone the feeling that if you make a mistake you're done. He gives room he gives room to the players to be themselves, to make mistakes, to have some personality, to breathe a little bit. But it doesn't mean that he still doesn't demand greatness. But again, you have other coaches who are a lot looser, right? Like what they're doing in Miami, reportedly with Shane Steichen. And it's just like, and you can see that they kind of play that way. And then it's hard to kind of get everyone together. And it becomes a problem. Then it's like too loose. So it's a balance, like anything. It's an absolute balance. And I'd love to be able to get more reporting with what Ben Johnson's doing. But we're obviously always going to see it through a very filtered lens, especially in year one right now. And right now, because like, what are we going to say? Who's making a story about Ben Johnson's really happy? And all the players are saying that he's really kind and sweet and compassionate. Like no one's saying that. But I will say this though, they did say that kind of about Kevin O'Connell, and when he first took over, and I think it was what's his name? Peter King. I think it's Peter King or whatever his name is. He's like, I've been to a million training camps over the years, for like decades and all this. He's like, I've never seen camps like this. I've never seen practices run this way. That Kevin O'Connell is all about supporting the players. He's like, if you make a mistake, if there is an issue, it's just like no one's yelling at you like you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. It's more of like, let me show you why you're doing it wrong. Let me coach you and teach you why you're doing it wrong. I like that environment personally more than anything. I play so much more free. I learn, I grow, and I feel more empowered to make mistakes, to take risks. And you have to, in order to really reach your level of greatness, you have to feel like you can take risks, okay? Sometimes you create a culture where you don't feel like you can take risks, and that can be problematic. And that's why Andy Reid, to me, has really stuck the landing so much, where certain players, especially like the Kelce's and the Mahomes of the world, they feel empowered where they can take a risk, where Travis Kelce can do like a lateral or something like that. In order to be great, you got to be able to take risks. Some teams, some players, some coaching staff, some cultures, you don't necessarily have that. Some cultures are too wild. Some teams are just too wild, and you can't have that, right? You can't have that. And some, you need it. Like, it's just, like I'm just going to keep emphasizing. it's a balance. It's a balance. And it's not to say that there's a 100% right way or 100% wrong way, but you do also have to read the locker room. It's a different team every year, even when it's the same team. There's just different energy, different vibes, different outcomes, different teams you're playing. Some coaches are going to be different. Of course, some players are going to be different. Like, the vibe's always changing. Even if it's the exact identical team in 2024 to 2025, it's still different. There's something, everyone's lives are different. So something is always different. So a coach also has to be sensitive to that as well. So I find it fascinating. I think we're getting so much deeper understandings of the coach's experience than we've had in years past. And I think for people who just haven't had a lot of experience with coaches, you know, I think there's a lot to learn, honestly, which I think is great. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Chicago Bears and Ben Johnson? Do you think it's good news about this level of intensity and changing of the culture? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.